Hi guys, you're welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be drafting a Bustier dart pattern. If this is something that interests you, please stay tuned to the end of this video. Thank you. To start with, we are going to measure the normal neckline measurements we go for. That is 7 inches by 3 inches. So now I'm just marking out the 7 inches and the 3 inches. So on that 7 inches, I'm going to come down by 1 inch as usual. Then I'll connect it with a ruler to the 3 inches, and that's going to serve as a shoulder slant. So the next thing we are going to do is to measure our horizontal measurement. So we'll start with the bust point, which is 10 inches, the under bust, and the waistline. So after making all the lines, I'm just going to label it bust points. Sorry, that's supposed to be under bust. I made mistake. Under bust, and the last line is going to be the waistline. So on the bust point, we are going to come up by 1.5 inch, and that's going to serve as our chest line. So on that chest line, we are just going to repeat our shoulder measurements there, which is 7 inches. So we're just going to measure out the 7 inches that we measured on the shoulder line on the chest line again. Then we'll connect it together, the 2 points together with a straight ruler. So the next thing we are going to do now is to form our armhole. And to form our armhole, we are going to measure the distance between the shoulder slant and the chest line. Then we are going to look for the midpoint. So this is the easiest method of searching for the midpoint, because after folding your tape, it's going to form a crease. So you just mark out at the crease. So this is the midpoint that we are marking out. Another midpoint, you are just going to go in by 1/2 inch. Then on your chest line, you are going to measure your bust span measurements, and the one we are using here is 8.5 inches. So the next thing we are going to do is connect that point, and that point together to form our armhole. So the next thing we are going to do is that on the waistline, we are going to measure the nipple to nipple distance, which is 3.5. And this is the point that I realized that I made a mistake while labeling this. So we have measured 3.5 on waistline, which is our nipple to nipple distance divided by 2. And we'll repeat that same measurement on the bust point again. So we are going to connect both points together with a straight line. So we have connected it together. So on the side that goes to the center front, we are just going to mark 1/2 inch. So that's what we are doing now on the both on the waistline and the under bust. So on the side that goes to the side part, we are going to measure 1.5 inches. And we're going to connect that with a straight line as well. So the next thing we are going to do is to come down from our bust point by 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch, but I came down by 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to connect the under bust and that point together with our curve. to repeat the same thing on the other side. So the next thing we are going to do is to move to the armhole parts. And on that armhole, that midpoint that we marked out the other time, we are going to connect it together to the bust point using our curve rule. So as you can see, our bustier is already forming. So the next thing we are going to do is that on that point, we are just going to come out by 1 inch, and that 1 inch is straight up from that point. Then we'll connect together with a straight line. So on that 1 inch that we came out with, we are going to form a new armhole to join together to the one we formed the other time. So we are just going to form a new armhole, and the main purpose of doing this is so that there will be no shortage of fabric when you are sewing the center, front and the side pieces together. So you are cancelling that other armhole. So the next thing we are going to do is to just mark out our neck measurements. We are using 4 inches neck depth, and we are just going to connect the neck width together with the neck depth using our curve. So the next thing we are going to do is to start taking our span measurements. So remember, we've already marked out our bust span measurements, so we are just going to add 1.5 inch seam allowance. So on the waistline, we are going to measure our waist span measurements, and our waist circumference measurement is 6 inches. So we are going to 6 1/4 rather. We are going to mark out the 6 1/4. Then these 2 inches that we took at the mid at that point, half an inch on one side, 1.5 at the other side, that makes 2. So we are going to add it to it. Then we mark out the 1.5 inch seam allowance. Then we are just going to connect it together with a straight line, and we are practically done drafting out our bustier dart pattern. So the next thing you are going to do is to cut it. Please watch carefully the way I'm going to be cutting it, so you won't make mistake while cutting yours. So I'm going to cut it out. So now that new armhole that we formed is what I'm going to be cutting for the side piece. Then the old armhole that we formed is what I'll be cutting for the front piece, for the center piece rather. So just look at the way I'm cutting it so you won't make mistake. So this is the front panel. When you are transferring this pattern to your fabric, make sure that you add half an inch to those sides where we cut this side piece and the center front, because that's what you are going to use to join it together. So now this is the front piece. I'm going to go off camera now to cut the back piece. To know how to cut a back panel, make sure you watch my video where I made a video on how to draft basic bodice pattern. So I'll be back soon. So I've gone ahead to cut out the back panel, and this is the back panel, and that's the front panel. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like this video and do well to subscribe to this channel. I'll see you in the next one.